Today is the 50th anniversary of the first ever World Cup, Cricket World Cup. On this day, the 20th of June, 1973, mastermind by Rachel A. Flint, who was the head cook and bottle washer, the first ever Cricket World Cup started between Jamaica and New Zealand. It was the Women World Cup. Yes, there was a Women World Cup before the Men World Cup. So in 1973, 7 teams took part in the first ever Cricket World Cup. England, England B, and International 11, Australia, New Zealand, Jamaica, and Tobago. Those were the 7 teams that took part. At the end of the tournament on July 28, England was crowned champion. In this photo shown here is Rachel A. Flint, who masterminded that tournament. After doing all the legwork and all the planning and all the motivation and getting the MCC to stage the World Cup, the MCC looked at Rachel Flint and told her they did not have any money. However, it did not stop her. She called her friend, Sir Jack Haywood, who was a businessman in England at the time. And Sir Jack Haywood sponsored the first Women's World Cup in 1973 for £40,000. And so today we celebrate the start of a tremendous occasion, the 50th anniversary of the World Cup. Here is Rachel Flint with Jamaican Paulette Lynch. That tall, dark lady is Paulette Lynch of Jamaica. There are some other photos that I have here, but I do not know these persons. I would know Rachel Flint because she's a Jamaican. So that photo there is Jamaican Rachel Flint with is Jamaican Paulette Lynch with the UK Rachel Flint, who was the mastermind behind the first ODI World Cup. Hello everyone and welcome to the show. Joining me today is Juna Codlin as we react to West Indies' victory and some other news in the last match against the USA. Please smash a like on the video and click on that subscribe button. As we talk about that first World Cup, this is what the Chief Executive Officer of ICC said this morning. His name is Jeff Allardyce. Today is not just a celebration of 50 years of the Women's Cricket World Cup, but the first ever Cricket World Cups. And it gives us the opportunity to recognize the women who were pioneers of this, our sport. In staging the first ever Cricket World Cup, they set the foundations in place for a vibrant women cricket landscape. Those are the words of the ICC president, ICC CEO, in recognition of the 50th anniversary celebration of Cricket World Cup. As we celebrate the start of the first ever World Cup, the West Indies, who were the winners of the first 2 male World Cup, are in Zimbabwe struggling to qualify for the 2023 ODI World Cup in India. There's no room for error. And joining me to discuss the West Indies' performance in the first match and the way forward is Juna Codlin. Speaking at his post-match interview, West Indies captain Shea Hope said, "I think we need to be a bit more ruthless. We need to make sure that we bowl a lot more in a consistent areas and think more positively moving forward." He continued by saying, "We need to plan better and execute even better. We need to get off strike better And when the balls are there to hit, we have to capitalize. Your views on that comment, Juna?
I think the captain has said the right words. Um, because when I observe this West Indies team, since not trying to go way back, but when we look at the series with them and the UAE, the West Indies did not win that series convincingly. And if you have a team that the new appointed head coach and his coaching staff is trying to portray to the media that it will be an elite team, the West Indies has fallen very short of coming up anyway to be an elite team at this time. When you look at a team like the UAE and the USA, West Indies struggle to beat them. But when you look at Sri Lanka, when they were playing the UAE, oh, they brushed away the UAE quite convincingly, while the West Indies struggled to beat the UAE in the 3 matches that they play, and also struggled to beat the USA in the first World Cup game. Much is to be desired. While we don't want to talk too much about Darren Sammy as the new head coach. We don't have enough sample size to give a great rebuttal of what he's trying to do at the moment. But when you look at Shea Hope, 6 match into captaincy, much is to be desired from him. I don't think he's a strong enough leader. I don't think he has control of the unit that he was put in charge of. And the selectors has to realize this mistake that they have made rather sooner than later, because at the moment, Shai Hope is found lacking in his captaincy.
Okay, Juna, we saw where Romario Shepherd said in a post-match interview after the first warm-up game leading up to these qualifiers in Zimbabwe. He said that he got a call from Shea Hope, and Hope told him that he could rest. He could take a few days off and rest. I have said that I don't think those players who were at the IPL, who did not play any competitive cricket for almost a month, except for Myers and Puran. I have said that all those players, except for those two, should have gone to the UAE. And so you making that point, and you're expressing your own opinion, and you making that point, I saw where you have a point there, because I do not think those guys should have gone and get rest. What do you think?
Absolutely, because when you are bringing a team to an important tournament like the World Cup qualifiers, you need to have them playing games. They need to have game times. What type of rest are you talking about when most of them were in India warming the benches? So I don't understand why these people are talking about player burnout and player rest. Um, Carlton, look at Stuart Broad in the ongoing Ashes series. Look yesterday when the guy bowled out all of his heart trying to get back England in the game. He was tired when he bowled the last ball. His teammates has to be helping him to catch here. That is dedication. That is determination. You know why the West Indies team is far from an elite team? The West Indies team is far from an elite team because our players are behaving like they are ladies. They're asking for too much rest. They are not behaving like they are soldiers. They are not behaving like they really want to play cricket for the West Indies. You'd have never seen them gone to an IPL game and they had to play the game and they ask for rest. None of them would ask for rest. They would have put their body and their soul on the line just to play an IPL? Why are they not doing it for the people of the region? This is why so many people are turned off from West Indies cricket when they hear this foolishness. Rest in an important World Cup tournament, rest when you are fighting to reach the World Cup. If the West Indies don't reach this World Cup, as Carl Hooper rightfully say, it's a new law and it will be an indictment on the coaching staff and it will be an indictment on Dr. Shallow. So they ought to go back and say to Shy Hope, you are the captain, but you don't have the right to tell a player to rest. Then why Romario Shepherd ought to be rest and Roston Chase ought not to be rest after Roston Chase have been playing the entire games in the UAE games that he played, come back and play the warm-up games and play the first game. Why Romario Shepherd ought to be rest and Roston Chase ought not to be rest? West Indies cricket need to stop be existent to Barbados alone and incorporate all of the Caribbean islands. And that's how we will get to an elite team.
Okay, Wendell Felix is saying that Hope talk like a boss. He doesn't think that Hope comments were subordinates, but he think that he talks like a boss. I'm just giving you these comments because you have made your points. And I am not a feminist in any way. I think that whatsoever men can do, I also think that female can do it. Matt Pryor is saying that even though the wins have been struggling, Samuel win-loss record is still 100%. That's a fact. Matt Pryor might not be the best win, but they still win. I agree with those things, Matt Pryor, because I always take a win over a loss. And I'm sure if you can ask the USA if this loss didn't hurt, it did hurt them. As you mentioned about what Hooper said, I want you to listen to this clip. Older responding to one of the interviews, having won the play of the match in the first ODI. This was what Older said.
See people around the ground, and it's a good spectacle for the game of cricket.
Jason, when somebody as respected as Carl Hooper comes out and says he finds the West Indies situation distressing, and that there could be a new, or he's hoping there's no new low, is that a motivating thing, or I'm sure stronger things are said behind closed doors in the dressing room? But how does that land with the players?
Well, it's the first time I'm hearing it, to be honest. Look, man, people will have their opinions, man. I think they're entitled to their opinions, and we've just got a job to do. I don't think we need to make it any harder for ourselves by.
Did you hear that, Juna?
Yeah, I did hear it.
What are your opinions on all the reaction to what Hooper said?
The first reaction would naturally be that Jason Holder never respect the voice of a legend that would have been there before and used to West Indies being on the top. What has happened in West Indies cricket now is that these players get used to complacement and get used to lackadaisical performance. And when a person criticizes their embeddedness of being lackadaisical, then they take great offense to it. How West Indies cricket is going to move forward is people like Carl Hooper, people like Darren Sammy, and the rest that don't like to lose. So they have a lot of work to do. They would have to talk to these players and let them understand that winning has to be our habit. That Jason Holder is a person like this. Jason Holder don't like when people tell him the truth. He doesn't like when people show him that you are wrong. But Carlton, you and I can't see behind us. We need a glass to be able to see behind us because we don't have eyes behind us. They are the players and the coaching staff are the expert. And the guy was asked a question because of a comment that he made last year. And he responded by continuing to say that West Indies is below, and how can Afghanistan and Bangladesh be ahead of West Indies? It's a fair point that Carl Hooper make. Jason Holder has to know his place. Jason Holder is a player. Carl Hooper is a coach and a great of West Indies cricket. The guy don't like the way West Indies cricket is. Jason Holder like that way that it is now. That's why he's criticizing, and that's why he gave a rather distasteful reply to the reporter. How can you say people will say whatever they want? Carl Hooper is not people. Carl Hooper is a coach of the West Indies cricket team, a former great of the West Indies cricket team. So Jason Holder crossed the line.
Oh, we are back on. We are back live. Can somebody in the chat tell me whether we are live? Go ahead, Juna. It looks like we are live. But there's Mr. Casanova. He's saying that you are bowling a ton of bouncers with these statements. And he said, we haven't lost any games since Sammy took over. So we got to wait and see. A win is a win, regardless of how we win. Do you agree that a win is a win, Juna?
A win is a win. But we are playing teams that are far below our rankings. What I'm saying,
So
I'm not right. I'm not criticizing Darren Sammy. I made that very clear from the onset.
But
what
Juna,
I'm talking about.
I don't cut you, Juna. But what about look at last year Football World Cup in Qatar. Argentina lost the first match to an underdog. I think it was UAE. No one expected the UAE to beat Argentina, but Argentina turned around and won the World Cup. So isn't it that a win is a win, and we should give them the benefit of the doubt? Here's someone asking, how is it that Jason Holder is hearing that comment for the first time? So Conquer Them is asking, how is it? Juna, do you think that it was the first time Jason Holder hearing that comment?
No, it wasn't the first time. Because
Juna, you're saying that you do not believe Jason Holder. He said that it's the first time he's hearing it.
No, I don't believe Jason Holder, because I mean, how can these recording went out 2 days in advance of our first game. So I don't understand. And people like you and I and others that are in this space put out all of these stuff, and I'm well aware that Jason Holder watch our programs, so he knows the comments that was made. But he was caught off guard, and his answers was rather deranged, and his answers was very disrespectful to a former great of our cricket.
Tyrell, you think that I fuzzled Hooper? It was not my intention. It was not my intention, Tyrell. It was not my intention. I just asked a straightforward question based on some comments that he had made last year. So it was not my intention. Conquering Them say that it appears that there's miscommunication in the dressing room. Juna, have you heard? I heard a rumor yesterday that there's some discontent in the West Indies dressing room, that things are not well in the West Indies dressing room. Have you heard that rumors? Have you heard those rumors? And do you think that there's some miscommunication in the locker room?
Yes, there are miscommunication, and there are issues in the dressing room at the moment, because everyone is not on the same page. Everyone is not pulling in the same direction, and it's for the head coach Darren Sammy to get it right before the next game. But at the moment, there's no type of real understanding there, and it arrives from the ill-advised response from Jason Holder to a former great of West Indies cricket.
What do you think about for the last 20 matches, for more than half of those 20 matches, the West Indies have not batted out their 50 overs in ODI cricket. What's your quick answer to that?
Disorganized, and they don't have a plan. They don't have a blueprint from which they are working from. They are disorganized.
Shoes is saying that players need to understand if they are not given 100%, they are not going to play, just like no-name brand batsman. How do you react to that? So Shoes is saying that if players are not given 100%, they should not be allowed to play. What's your thought on that? And just before you answer that, Merrick Meredith is agreeing with everything you are saying. So do you want to answer Shoes? Shoes is saying that if they are not given 100%, they should not play.
Roston Chase is not giving 100%. Roston Chase can perform a lot better than he's performing now. What is his problem? And if he weren't a Barbadian,
he's not referring to Chase alone, you know.
Yeah, but Chase is the one that is being marketed around despite of his lack of form, lack of hunger to perform in a way that will benefit West Indies cricket. Roston Chase is a elite player, you know. Roston Chase is an elite player that have lost his way. And the reason why Chase remains on the West Indies team, simple because he's a Barbadian, I agree. Players that don't show any interest and they are lacking the requisite skills to perform at the highest level should not be picked. But that cannot be said about Romario Shepherd that almost won 2 ODIs against India last year for us and also racked up very good performances against Bangladesh in Guyana last year. So when we are going to judge a player, we got to look not only on one player, but we got to put up the players together, and anybody way better, that's the person that you use.
Okay, Juna. So Sheldon is saying, so Hooper must be given a different level of respect than Simmons. So that's Sheldon Smith comment there. So Hooper he's saying that should Hooper be given a different level of respect than Simmons? How you respond to that?
Well, I don't understand from what he's coming from, because if you look on the internet, I have taken a lot of pictures with Phil Simmons despite constructively criticizing him. And the players respected Phil Simmons despite him not having the accomplishment that Carl Hooper would have received over the time that he's with the team at the moment. So I can't honestly answer the question because I don't know from where it is coming from. But I'm saying that once a player play for the West Indies and have done all they can do to keep us at the top, show some respect and love to them, whether Carl Hooper or somebody else that we don't yet have in the spotlight, show respect to them. And I'm saying the ill-advised answer that Jason Holder would have given at the press conference that you have just played just now is disrespectful. It is disrespectful. And Jason Holder have not achieved anything of any sort to boast really about in ODI cricket, to be giving these ill-advised answer to a former great that had done well in ODI cricket for the West Indies.
But my price is saying that even though Hooper is a great, Holder has also been a soldier for the West Indies cricket. He has been
in Test cricket. Jason Holder achieved a lot more in Test cricket than in ODI cricket. When you look at the performances of Holder, he has some remarkable performances in Test cricket. If he weren't the captain for the time 2015, 2014 going up, he wouldn't be in the ODI team because his performance was not desirable. But he had excelled in Test cricket, so he had not done anything of any great sort in ODI cricket to be making these ill-advised comments.
Okay, so so George Maxwell is saying that he doesn't think that there's a communication problem in dressing room. He said that he just think it's all about it's all about money. Like the likes of Powell, Chase, Carter,
No,
Shepard, Charles have no ODI future.
no. It's not about this thing is not about money, my learned friend. Um all of these guys, despite all of them not having an IPL contract, they have played a lot of cricket outside the West Indies system and they are well paid for it. It's not about money. Kalupa is not about money. Kalupa took this job because he seriously want to play a part in West Indies, get into an elite team. So it's not about money, it's just about respect. It's about respect. It's about you respecting the management staff. You have to be online and in the direction that the management is trying to bring the team into. Jason Holder have to realize that Darren Sammy is the head coach, Carl Hooper is the batting coach. Respect that. And once you respect that, the other members in the team will respect that because Jason Holder is a leader. He's a leader, so he has to lead by example.
So let's look a little at the match now. These matches that are starting at 9 a.m. and thankfully the match that West Indies is going to play on Thursday against Nepal, it will be at Harare Sport Complex. So it's not going to be the same effect as the morning condition. Do you think that the toss is too much of an importance in these matches? Because mark you, if West Indies had bowled first on Sunday morning, I do not see the USA making 100. Do you think that the toss is too much of an importance in this competition and the ICC got it wrong?
It wouldn't be the ICC, but it would have been the ground staff in Zimbabwe and their ability to prepare good pitches for cricket games like these. The stars should be a problem in important World Cup games like these. It's an indictment on the authorities in Zimbabwe and more on the ICC for an international tournament which is so important to be tilt in who win the toss from who don't win the toss. But an elite team is able to perform in such a way whether the toss favors them or not. This is how you know that you are worthy of competing in the World Cup, when all the variables are against you and you can overcome them and still win.
We look at the West Indies performances on Sunday, and we saw that 3 of the 4 batsmen who made a half century were in the UAE. They being in the UAE and getting these match practice, did it contribute? Do you think that it contributed to 3 of these 4 batsmen who were in the UAE making an half century on Sunday?
Absolutely. That's what game time is about. That's what you can't be going to a World Cup tournament and you're playing warm-up games against UAE and using players that you will not bring at the World Cup qualifier. Then what kind of warm-up are they doing then? If the players that are supposed to go to the World Cup qualifiers are not in the UAE, then how can that series benefit West Indies cricket? It cannot. Because when you look Carlton, look at this. When we were going to Pakistan, we stop off in the Netherlands first, in Holland. And that team that went to Holland, it was the same team that got to Pakistan. And we performed very well in Pakistan. Even though we lost, we put up some desirable performance because the guys would have already got much games, practice, and they now are in the rhythm of playing. Look at this, Carlton, for a quick example. Azari Joseph played the final of the IPL last year, and it was just 2 days for him to get to Alan. The guy jumped on the plane, got to Alan, and played the first ODI and got wickets. That is dedication. All they are telling him to rest, he would have never rest. He played that game and got wickets. That is dedication. These are the players that we need in West Indies cricket. We don't need players that are acting like they are women and asking for rest all the time. Rest when you are a very good performer, and we rest you for 1 or 2 games. That is not so important. But every game in the World Cup qualifiers are very important, and we should be looking to put out our best 11. And I'm saying to the West Indies cricket team, if they want to be an elite team, use players that are able to get us to the status that we are desiring to get to.
Okay, Judah, you're coming across as being gender biased. You are not gender biased here, because I really think that women are as strong as men, and there are women who are stronger than men. So you're coming, there's no gender bias here. So I apologize to all the women. There's no gender bias. What do you think about the feeling of the team? Because except for that catch that was taken by Chase at backward point, a beauty, absolute stunner by Chase at backward point. What do you think about the feeling? I think they never look sharp. I think they look slumbered. A number of persons don't look like they're at the ideal weight to me. What do you think?
Yeah, they have to look like that, Carlton, because majority of the players that took the field in Zimbabwe for the first game against the USA, they don't have any game time. They don't have any match practice. So there are no real togetherness. There's not a real plan. And that's why the captain made mention of that. And he did well when he described that. First, to get something right, you have to acknowledge it. And that's what Carl Hooper and that's what Shea Hope acknowledge. They are acknowledging where they are, that they are nowhere near an elite team at the moment. I brought something very important early on when I talk about Sri Lanka and the West Indies. Look how Sri Lanka dismissed the UAE quite well, and look how the West Indies struggle to beat the USA and the UAE.
Okay, George Maxwell is saying it's time to inject new blood into the team and dispense with the recycled failures. But the question that I would ask George Maxwell is, who are those new bloods? Because it's not about just injecting new bloods if they are not as good. Because remember what Hooper said on Friday in that interview, that these guys are really the best in the Caribbean. So George Maxwell, I look at Athanaze. I would have had Athanaze at the World Cup, but I go back to say that why I don't want to bring up those who are not in Zimbabwe, because I've said it on many occasions, and persons know my stance here. It is only those in Zimbabwe that can qualify us for the World Cup at this time. No one else outside of Zimbabwe. So I agree with what George Maxwell is saying somewhat, not totally, because except for Athanaze, I don't know who else we could have bring into this squad as a batsman. I don't know.
I know, okay. Carlton. I know, because look at it. When we had the injury of Muti, right?
Yes.
When we had the injury, I just want to take you back to what the learned and my good friend Desmond Haynes said, and I'll be making sure that he watched this interview of yours. What he said was that Shai Hope wanted the same team that was in South Africa to be able to come to this qualifier because they had something good going on, paraphrasing and to a great extent of what he said. When Muti got injured, they went for Johnson Charles. Now, you can't tell me that Shimron Hetmyer sent several emails to the management of the West Indies cricket team outlining his renewed passion and ambition to represent our West Indies cricket team. They got two opportunities to give the guy a chance, a second chance. They did not take that. They went for Johnson Charles. I'm not against Johnson Charles. But when I put up Johnson Charles and Hetmyer together.
1 minute there. I don't cut you on the Hetmyer issue. But do you think that a coach going to battle and he wants people who he knows has his back? And that is why, because Johnson Charles was Sammy pick. Johnson Charles said to the selectors and everybody and the captain and everybody, not Johnson Charles. Darren Summit said to all of them, when you were selecting this 15, I was not a part of it. So now that there's an opportunity comes up for me, for a player to come into the squad, I want this to be my pick. And so Charles was Sammy pick. And Sammy picked Charles because he trusts Charles. He knows that Charles will die for him. I'm not taking away anything what you said about Hetmyer. I'm just making the point that I think it was a fear. It was fear for Sammy to get that one pick, knowing that he didn't pick any of the 15.
And this is how West Indies cricket keep making errors, Carlton, because before this team was picked, the West Indies hierarchies know that they are scouting for a head coach, right? And they know who they would pick already. They have their man already. They just run a bunch of interviews because they are afraid of people like us that are in the know and will criticize because other persons did not get a fair chance. So they know that they would have picked Darren Sammy for the head coach, so they should have consulted him when they were going to pick the team. But what they did, they picked the team and just throw it to Darren Sammy. So I'm not against him seeing an opportunity and getting an input and pick Johnson Charles. But the greater good is West Indies cricket. Is not about who have your back from who don't have your back. It's about who can go on the field and get us to India 2023 World Cup.
Okay, thank you. All right. What do you think about Powell dismissals? And there are some chats. So, all right. There are some chats, there are some comments in the comment section. But after you take this question, we are going to answer some of the questions in the comment section. What do you think about Powell dismissals in that first match? And the sitter that he dropped at second slip? Absolute dolly. My grandmother could catch it in her sleep, but yet still Powell dropped it at second slip. What do you think about his dismissal and the dropping of that catch?
It's a rush of blood. Powell just coming in back. You know, we have to give him that one game. I believe he will perform better the next time that he play. No, just a rush of blood. You know,
it goes back to the point that if he had gone to Dubai, this would not have happened. It's all likelihood would have not have happened if he had played 2 matches in Dubai.
Yeah, but it was not his choosing. It was a management decision to let them come back to the Caribbean and have some rest. If the management had said to them that we know you have been at the IPL, but you weren't playing all the games. So we need you to come to the UAE, get some sufficient game time, and then we on to Zimbabwe, like the others would have done. So it wasn't his desire to come back to the Caribbean, but it was a management desire. And this is where the errors are continuing to show up in West Indies cricket team. And once we continue to jump on the bandwagon with these errors, then our team will never be an elite team. We have got to behave ourselves in such a way that we put West Indies cricket first, not only in word but in deed.
Okay, please smash a like on the video and click on that subscribe button, please. And please check out those links in the video description. I agree with you, Matt Pryor. I do think that Charles is ahead of Powell and Brooks in the ODI setup. I agree with you. After this World Cup qualifier, the likes of Athanaze, Jordan, Mackenzie, Sinclair, and the Lane should be brought into the team. Okay, good point. But what we want to see from them, and we have seen it from Athanaze, Jordan, and Mackenzie Sinclair. We have seen it from those four. Good suggestion, good names that you picked out there, George Maxwell. Very good names. But Anderson Lane, Melius, and those guys, we need to see repeat performance from them. Jupiter, I take your point, Jupiter, but I'm talking about equitable. Sheldon, Upa, okay, so Karis and Sheldon is getting on with it. I love it when they get on with it. Now, I think that on a pitch like the one that we played on Sunday, you hearing me, Juna? On a pitch like the
Yeah,
one
I'm
that we
hearing
played
you,
on
man. Go
Sunday,
ahead.
Myers should have bowled 10 overs on that pitch. What do you think on the pitch that we play on Sunday?
Absolutely. You should have bowled a lot more than Jason Holder would have done, because while Jason Holder is more experienced, Kyle Mears had it going on for him on Sunday. And this is how a serious captain and a tactical captain is able to get out the best out of his players. When you identify that a player is having his day, then you use him to the best of your ability and you use him when it matters the most. And not because a player would have been there before and have a lot of experience, meaning that you're gonna say, Jason Holder is a far better bowler. Yes, he's a far better bowler, but he's having a half day, and Kyle Mears having a good day. So you use Kyle Mears in very important parts of the game where he can take wickets and bring your team in the best position to win the game. I think Kyle Mears should have been used a lot more Sunday than he was used. He was underused Sunday.
But he bowled 6 overs, but in my opinion, he should have bowled all 10. You said at the
Absolutely.
beginning, that captaincy found wanting. And I think that this is one of the occasions where he bowled Myers for 6 consecutive overs and did not brought him back on. I also think that Myers should have opened the bowling in that condition, and he should have bowled his 10th over. By the 25th over, Myers should have bowled 3 spells, because you don't want him to bowl all 10 overs on the trot. The next question, though, is he fit enough to bowl 10 overs in an ODI match? Because he has not been doing a lot of bowling. Look at the teams Mr. Casanova. Mr. Casanova is saying, Mr. Casanova one is saying that Etty needs to come out and apologize to us, the fans, and he's making himself available because it's a World Cup next year. Then he vanish again and come back when World Cup time comes again. How do you respond to that quickly?
Persons, I'm not a fan of Hetmyer, but I'm a fan of West Indies cricket. And what is best for West Indies cricket is the talent and the ability of Shimron Hetmyer. And even though he have issues, some of those that he had issue with, is no longer a part of the system in West Indies cricket. And so the guy just want a fair chance. And as much as we want him to come and apologize to the fans that he were not able to go to Australia for the World Cup, that is never gonna happen. He make himself available through the channels of which he were asked to do so. He had several communications with the hierarchies of West Indies cricket. They are the ones that don't want to see Shimron Hetmyer. They are the ones that are holding a grudge against Shimron Hetmyer. For what I don't know, you would have never see India discard their best batter, which is Virat Kohli. And Virat Kohli and India management had many run-ins, yet he remains committed in playing for India, and he still got the opportunity to play for India. That's why West Indies team can never be an elite team, because big men hold grudges against their one another and fight down their better player. India, and look at it. The former BCCI president Saurav Ganguly and Virat Kohli had a run in South Africa. Virat Kohli continued to play for India despite of their disagreement. Now Hetmyer and Jimmy Adams had a little issue. Hetmyer not playing for West Indies, and Hetmyer is performing for other teams. Why can't he be given an opportunity to come and perform for the West Indies?
Well, my position on Hetmyer, I think that for the ODI team, because when you look at Hetmyer performances for the ODI team, he's a sure pick. But for the T20 team, Hetmyer's average is just about 20. And it is not like he suddenly start performing in CPL and other T20 crickets. He's always performing in franchise cricket, but when it comes to the West Indies, his T20 record is not good. So he's not a sure pick in the T20 team, but for the ODI team, I think that he has a look in. Now, when it comes again, I'm going to say, would I have selected Hetmyer for the ODI World Cup qualifiers in Zimbabwe? I don't know. I've not given it enough thoughts. But my position that I have adopted though is that it's a matter of confidence where the selectors and the administrators of West Indies cricket concerned. Do they have confidence in Hetmyer? And I think that's where the issue is. It's a matter of confidence, if they have confidence in him.
Yeah, but Carlton, I'm telling you that they should take a chance. Take a chance on this guy. Give him one final chance to prove himself.
I don't have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with that, you know. I do not have an issue with them not selecting him, and I would not have had an issue if they had selected him. So I do not have an issue with that, especially for the ODI team. His average for the ODI team, I think, is about 35, 36 thereabout. It is better than probably everyone who is in the team. I would probably need to double check that. But that average is better than almost everyone who is in the team, except maybe for Romario Shepherd, who is not playing. Romario Shepherd do have a very high ODI average, very high, and a very good strike.
Yeah, and look, right, and look at Hetmyer and the rest of the team. Hetmyer and Shai Hope at the moment boast the highest average in the West Indies ODI team, and it's been a long time now since Hetmyer play ODI cricket, yet he remains in the top 5 of those that boast a very superior average in the ODI.
What do you think about this comment though? Okay, that's nice. The local one come to keep your company. That's nice, Jonah. What do you think about this though? Hope cannot control Hetmyer, so he has to sit him out. What do you think about that?
No, I don't I can't subscribe to that because I mean when you put control, we have to careful what we say. I think those in the comment section can be able
It's,
to say
it's one
whatever they
person.
want, but
No,
you
no,
and I
no,
have
no,
to.
Jonah. Yeah, but you see, but everyone is entitled to their opinion, Jonah. Don't you
Yeah,
agree with
but
that?
not us. They will sue us if we really say what is to be said. But to be very frank, is that the control element of it is that what would he need to control him with? It would have been from if I read properly into the comment, it would have been like a competition then. And that's what you would need in this West Indies team. That's how you will get the best out of the guys when you ask them to compete together. Because if Maya and Shy Hope is competing of who's gonna have the best average at the end of the series, then you will have a volume of runs from our team, and our team would win even more. If you want to put it at the bowling, who is going to compete to get the most wickets? That's how you build hunger, you know. And this is what Darren Sammy is trying to do, to put some competition between these guys in the team. So in the end, is West Indies cricket is going to benefit. Who can hit the highest six? Who can hit the most fours? That's how you get a team to perform at an elite level when you have competition. Because I know of some of those competitions in the Indian team, and it is working good for them in the shorter formats of the game.
But what a number of persons have said though is that Hetmyer is clearly a better captain than Hope, a better captain than Puran. We saw that out here against New Zealand in those three T20 matches that were played at Savannah Park. That although Puran was a dedicated captain, it was actually Hetmyer running the show. Is this when Sheldon said that he cannot control him? Is it from this angle that Sheldon is talking and not about competing, scoring the most runs and so on? Is it about authority and not about runs?
Authority in the sense that why Sherman Hetmyer is not captain. Sherman Hetmyer is not captain because of his own choosing. He had not spent enough time in West Indies cricket and around West Indies cricket to be trusted to be the captain of West Indies cricket team. So I mean, that's it. But look at it, Carlton. Look who is the captain for the test team. Craig Brathwaite. But who give the talk and who move the field and the cricket pitch? Jason Holder. Look at the match against the USA the other day. Who were making most of the field changes? Jason Holder. So I mean, I don't think Shihope have a problem with people overriding him and he carrying the title and the name as captain while he's not truly in charge. But if Jason Holder can do it in test and can do it in ODI despite not having the captain armband, then he shouldn't be afraid of Sherman Hetmyer. And I think the chief selector would have made it very clear that it was because Shihope didn't agree with him. That's the reason why he didn't pick Sherman Hetmyer.
Okay, all right. We saw in the match on Sunday where Chase bowled two of the last 3 overs. In this match, Hussein bowled his 10 overs for 38 runs. Kimo Paul bowled his 6 overs for 23 runs. I do not see Chase bowling overs number 48 and 50 against stronger opponent. Shouldn't be Kimo Paul the man who should have bowled that 48 over and also the 58 over. And did West Indies deliberately give Singh the century by bowling Chase for the 48 and 58 over? Did he? Where's Singh from? Is he from India or is he from Guyana or something or Trinidad?
He's from
Did West
Guyana.
Indies
He's
He's from Guyana. Did West
Yes.
Indies deliberately gave him the century by bowling Chase for the 48th and 50th over instead of bowling Kemo Paul, who will be more likely be bowling the 48th over and 50th over against the bigger teams?
No, they did not give him 100, but it was the lack of human capital and the lack of captain judgment within Shy Hope. That's why 6 games into his captaincy, is found wanting. And the other side of it is that they didn't want to bowl Kemo Paul too much because he's injury prone, so they are trying to hide in him. And this is a judgment of error from the West Indies cricket team again, and the lack of captaincy, you know, good judgment regarding captaincy from Shy Hope. He's not tactical. He's not able to make good judgment as a captain. And this is why we need to be worried and we need to be afraid, because in a very important tournament like this, you need good captaincy, you need good judgment. That's why I think the selectors would have made a very big error when they appoint Shy Hope as captain and not Rodman Powell.
No, but Ravman Powell, Ravman Powell can't be a sure pick in the ODI team, Juna. But that is for another discussion. But you would want your captain to be a sure pick, and Ravman Powell is certainly not a sure pick in the ODI team. But moving on
Jason
quickly though.
Holder, Jason Holder, before you come off that point, Jason Holder and Darren Sammy, when they were captain, they only got picked because they had to get picked because they were the captain.
Okay, all right. We will pick up that discussion another time. You and I will discuss that another time. I'll invite you back to discuss the captaincy issue. Okay, but in my opinion, I would not have Powell as the captain because I do not see him as a sure pick for the ODI team. Now, I have often said on this channel that in the next 5 to 10 years, and Mr. Casanova was bantering me the other day, in the next 5 to 10 years, USA cricket will surpass West Indies cricket. How do you respond to that opinion of mine?
USA cricket and international cricket. USA is not putting enough investment into international cricket like they are doing domestically, with the T20 leagues that they have over there. So they are not trying to be a elite international cricket team where they can start to compete internationally. That's not their interest. Their interest is more about local T20 leagues there in the USA. So, I mean, them overcoming the West Indies to a large extent in the next 5 years, I don't see it happening because their focus and their energy is not really into international cricket.
Just running through a few comments here. Colin Goodridge is saying that, was asking the question, was Jesse Older captain before he was made captain of the West Indies? Etty was not treated good by Simmons and Karen Pollard, also the management of West Indies board. Sunil, welcome to the show, Sunil. Nice to see you, your legend. Nice seeing you. Other teams are looking better than the West Indies. I fear West Indies might not qualify. Do you fear that the West Indies may not qualify? I'm telling you the truth. I'm one of the biggest West Indies supporters, and I'm confident that they will qualify. But there's sometimes there's just this little doubt. When I look at that field, at that team, especially in the field, not in the batting, especially in the fielding department and the bowling department on Sunday, I just have a little concern. I am confident that they will, but I do have a little doubt. What do you think?
I made it very clear early on that I'm worried. I'm worried because of the lack of captaincy. the lack of commitment, the lack of seriousness. When you look on the face of our players, they don't take it seriously. They don't take it as face value. They don't put any real commitment from what I'm seeing from the first game. And they've got to get it right, Carlton. The next game they play, they have to get it right, and give us the fans, take the fear out of our minds, take the fear out of our heart. At this time, at this moment, we are very fearful. I speak on behalf of the others here in the Caribbean. We are afraid. We are afraid, and Carl Hooper gave us a hint that he is afraid as well. And Shai Hope, in his comments at the press conference, if you read into what he said, he's very fearful as well. We are fearful.
Thank you. How you doing, Clive Samuels, my friend? Good to see you, man. Big up. You're only saying that because Powell get a one ball in the game. But Clive, do you really see Powell as a sure pick in the ODI team? Put away the Jamaican patriotism now and look at it, Clive. Do you really see Powell as a sure pick in the ODI team? I won't respond to that, what you said, Clive, because I do not know how you come to that decision. But I will ask you now, do you see Powell as a sure pick in the team? Now, so what do you think about Phillips? Did Phillips play today? Because after that's the right arm medium fast bowler from the USA, the one that hit Myers flush on the helmet. Myers flush on the helmet. And I didn't check the US score to see if he played today. I never checked the card. But I do not see him playing for the rest of the tournament. I just do not see why he should play for the rest of the tournament. What do you think about his bowling action?
Kyle Phillips.
Never take a closer look at him.
Yeah, I watched the guy, and I think he bowled very well. I don't really have an opinion on him. But I mean, when you look at Ali Kang and Kyle Phillips, if Ali Kang doesn't play, then Philip has to play. And I mean, we can also.
Ali Khan was on a 2-game suspension. But do you think that Phillips' action is clean? Do you think that it is clean? I don't want you to, but do you think that he's going to be reported? Do you see him as someone who's going to finish this tournament due to his action? Or you didn't take a close look at his action?
No, we didn't take a close look on his action. But I mean, if there's something wrong with his action, then the ICC will take it up. But I think the guy bowled very well against our team, the West Indies team, the other day. And this just goes to show you that if the USA can bamboozle a team that are boasting that they want to be an elite team, that's the reason why we Caribbean people are worried. We are worried.
Thank you very much, Juna. So on this, the 50th anniversary of the start of the first ever Cricket World Cup, it was the Women ODI World Cup in 1973 that was the first Cricket World Cup to take place. It was a 60-over affair. And this lady you see on the screen holding up the trophy is Rachel A. Flint. She was the mastermind of the first ever Cricket World Cup. That first match on the 20th of June, 1973, between Jamaica and New Zealand was washed out without a ball being bowled. 7 teams took part in that first World Cup. And in that, an international team, 2 teams from England, Australia, New Zealand, Trinidad and Tobago, and of course, Jamaica was there. There was no West Indies team at the first ever World Cup, which was a Women's World Cup. That World Cup was won by England and Rachel Awu Flynn, who have been inducted into the Cricket Hall of Fame. All the credits for that first World Cup should go to her. When the MCC did not have any money to run the tournament, she called her friend Sir Jack Haywood, who was a businessman, and Jack Haywood sponsored the tournament for £40,000 in 1973. So today is the 50th anniversary. Here in this other picture is the Jamaican Paulette Lynch. She's standing beside A.O. Flint, who holds the bat in front of her. I do not know who this person is, but these are images from that very first World Cup. Look at that umpire. When I look at that umpire, look at her. I just have to laugh when I look at her. And that was the first ever World Cup. So please slash a like on the video. Click on the subscribe button. It was nice being here. I see some comments in the chat. Let us see if I can just run through these comments very quickly. Overall, you will see Zimbabwe, Sri Lanka team is better. Despite I love West Indies, I am not so much optimistic. Brooks Chase, whenever I see, I used to stop watching the television. Sharon Kerr, welcome. How are you doing? Is Kima Paul our strike bowler? No, Alzari Joseph is our main strike bowler, but he bowled very well in that first match. Kima Paul bowled 6 overs for 23 runs, and although he did not get a wicket, he bowled very well. Biggest villain in West Indies cricket is Desmond Haynes. His only priority is to second Chase in this team and somehow ignoring other talented players. Thank you, Sunil. Thank you all for being here. Please slash a like on the video and click on that subscribe button. It's free to subscribe. Thank you again, Juna. And I wish to see you back here early. I wish to see you back here soon. We love having you on the show. I'm telling you, I don't always agree with your opinions, but then this is what the show about. It allows persons to express their opinions. I am, so I welcome you. I welcome your opinions, and I love the energy that you bring to the show. Slash a like on the video and click on that subscribe button. Yell up Clive Samuels. We'll have a drink soon. One love. Take care of yourself. And remember, what really matters is your family and your relationship with God. Those are the 2 things that matters. Your relationship with God and your relationship with your family. All the best now. Have a great day. One love. Thank you very much, Julie.
No problem. Thank you for